Good afternoon, parents, educators, all chess enthusiasts. Today I want to talk to you about decision-making, the decision-making skills specifically in youngsters, in kids, and how we can use this as a valuable tool, not only for the learning process, but also for life choices, how to groom these specific decision-making skills with young learners. I want to share this specific quote that I really find extremely valuable when we work in chess and education especially, and I'll read it to you. One of the primary differences between children and adults is the lack of life experience found in children. This is one of the reasons why children rely on their imagination to compensate for the lack of experience, especially when it comes to dealing with difficult and novel concepts. It is of paramount importance for the chess educator to enter this world of imagination and build framework in order for a child to understand various concepts. Now, in short, at our age as adults, we have a whole life experience or database of experience that we can connect to whenever we have to learn something new. When we learn something new, we first try to find something that we can connect it to in our database. Now, you can imagine with children, if they're at the age of 5 or 3 or 4 or 6 or whatever, it's difficult because they have a limited database of experience. So this is why we need to, first of all, know their worlds. We need to get into their imagination, and we need to know our children and our learners. The definition of decision-making. I know we all, but I think it's important to just look at one or two things here. It's a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. And then the next one is a sensitive one, I would say, for the ladies especially, the act or need for making up one's mind. Now, my opinion is that us as ladies, we often change our minds, and it is because we are so good at decision-making. That's my story, I'm sticking to it. You can have your own theory on this. But this is the act of making up our minds about something. The purpose of decision-making is also very important. First of all, we make decisions to meet our needs. So let's think about that, to meet our needs. The next thing is, it creates a level of certainty. When we make good decisions, we tend to have that level of certainty that we can trust ourselves and make our new decisions in the future. And we can trust our own decision-making. This is also where decision-making becomes faster, the process. And successful decision-making improves intuition. Now, this is important, especially in chess, because if we make a few decisions successfully, it develops our intuition and it makes it easier to make the next type of decision. Now, talking about the type of decision, there are 4 types of decisions generally, and I will explain these 4 types of decisions to you in 2 ways. One, I will use a chess example, and then I will use an everyday life example from my own life. So I will use my coffee example. So I do have, it feels like a Dr. Phil session now, where I have to confess that I do have a little bit of a problem with the coffee addiction, you know, but I drink coffee for your protection. So I will use my coffee decisions to explain the different types of decision. So an automatic decision is when we start off the chess game, for instance, where you play a certain opening, you know this is your first move, you just make the move. You don't even think twice about it. For me, coffee-wise, this is when I wake up in the morning, before I even try to take my phone off airplane mode, I need a cup of coffee. Again, for your protection. A simple decision is where on the chessboard, it doesn't really matter whether it's the best or the second best move that you choose in that specific position. It won't really impact the outcome. My coffee part, this is when I have my second cup of coffee. So this is more like a habit, having the second one to face the world, you know, now I'm ready to have a decent conversation, perhaps with someone. Then the critical decision. Now, on a chessboard, your critical decision is the point where the difference between your first and your second best move can be the difference between half a point or more. Coffee-wise, this is the part late afternoon when I have another coffee just to get me through the day. Critical decision. If I don't have it, chances are good that I either need bail money or lose some friends and family in the process. The last one, strategic decision. This is the conceptual decision, where you see the bigger plan. And often you might, on the chessboard even, you might make or accept a certain position like double pawns or an isolated pawn or a certain type of exchange for the strategic decision that will happen later on. Now, again, coffee-wise, this is where late in the day I need to decide, am I going to have that last cup of coffee to pull me through and have an all-nighter, or rather rest, get up tomorrow morning and start afresh? Right, so these are the different types of decisions. And this is important for our kids as well. I cannot resist the opportunity to use a little bit of a legal idea here as well. I want to mention the age of criminal responsibility. And in general, criminal responsibility means that this is the minimum age that the child needs to reach in order to be criminally prosecuted. In other words, over this age, this child might easily go to juvenile prison or some other type of rehabilitation facility. Now, in general, the average age in the world is about 12, but applicable to Hungary, for instance, it's 14. In South Africa, it's also 14 years. Now, why I want to mention this is that we know that kids under the age of 14 in the chess world, there are some grandmasters. So they need to have a certain type of decision-making ability, which can enhance their overall life skills in this sense. So when we look at criminal responsibility, there are two aspects. On the one hand, they need to distinguish between right and wrong. And on the other hand, they need to act accordingly. Now, a good example here is the toddler that has a baby brother or sister, and the toddler knows that it's wrong to bite the baby brother or to hit the baby brother. They know it's right, it's wrong, so they know the difference between right and wrong. But if baby brother takes his toy or bites him first, he doesn't have the ability yet to distinguish between how to act on this, how to act accordingly. And this is where we can enhance their decision-making processes and abilities and skills in order to speed up this act accordingly process. I want to use the example of a knight move, for instance. And again, I want you to keep in mind that we have grandmasters that are under the age of 14, and surely they need to know how a knight moves, right? So if we look at the process of decision-making improvement, when we look at a simple idea of learning how the knight moves, in the beginning, you teach them how the knight moves, and they have this, you know, where they hop, 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 they count the moves. The first object is just to get the knight on a legal square, to make a legal move. Whether it's a good one or not, they just don't want to make an illegal move. Here we distinguish between right and wrong. Now, after they got the hang of this knight move business, then they try to find a safe space. Where can I put this knight that I can still keep it on the board, you know? And this is the act on right or wrong. So now they know how to act on this right or wrong part. Then after that, they can select even the best safe square to their benefit. And even after that, they have the ability to create a nice pathway for this knight to become a Steinitz knight or a knight on the outpost or a nightmare, whatever you want to call it. So this is the decision-making skills that kids have, and at a very young age. So if we can enhance this, we can actually enhance their life skills in that sense. So I'm going to give you one or two tools that you can use at home. You can use it at home or at the chessboard. Some life hacks on how to improve a child's decision-making abilities. The first thing is start early. Toddlers can make decisions. Even toddlers can make decisions. So I know the biggest challenge with toddlers is normally to get them to wear shoes, especially in winter, right? So the decision here, or the choice here, should not be, do you want to wear shoes or not? You give them the opportunity to make a decision whether they want to wear red or blue shoes. You see how we trick them here? We don't ask them, do you want to go to chess practice or not? We ask them, do you want to play white or black in this position? Right. Modeling. We need to give them the example of how we think. Even small things, even when you go out to buy milk and your child is with you, look at the expiry date or the best before date on the milk, and then you ask your child, do you think we will drink this amount of milk before the expiry date? That's a simple example, but take them through the process. Talk through it. Explain the pros and cons to them as well. Provide support as they learn. So often the children will ask you, Mommy or Daddy or Coach, Teacher, can you help me with this decision? If it's not a difficult decision and it's a safe decision for them to even be wrong in that decision, encourage them to make the decision themselves and ask them, first tell me, what would you think? Get them to that point where they feel encouraged and motivated to do it themselves. And also practice how to make fast decisions. Like, we're leaving in 2 minutes. Do you want to wear red or blue shoes? There we go. Then I have the bicycle moments. I heard one of my other colleagues also spoke about bicycle, the bicycle idea, and I call them bicycle moments, where we buy our children bicycles, right? You know they're going to fall off at some stage. At some stage, they're going to hit the tar, and it's going to be blood on the dance floor, most probably. You don't know if it's going to be that day, the next day, or next week. But we still buy them the bicycle, and we still teach them how to ride a bicycle, right? So the same in chess. We know that they're going to get back rank mated once. They will fall for the scholars mate once, at least. But yet, we allow them to make those decisions. They have to feel it themselves. We cannot always just tell them about it and expect that's enough. So let them make some bad decisions. Obviously, it shouldn't be harmful or break the furniture or, cause bodily harm to the children, but allow them to make some decisions and make bad decisions and take the consequences for those decisions. So I will be very, I want to be inclusive. I believe in human rights, it needs to be inclusive. So my last part, I want to also encourage some of the pet owners. So I am a very proud human slave to a boy cat called Lexi. And I've got some insight on a cat's decision-making abilities as well. So just to round it off for you, to say that I didn't leave anyone out, there's some decision-making processes of a cat as well. I thank you.